Hey, it's Joy. I've got big feelings about little things, and I want to talk about it. Oh yeah, I'm mad about it. And the fact that everyone else is not up in arms about it is a big part of the problem. Oh, I bawled my eyes out, like I always do. It was the sweetest thing. Oh, it was the cutest thing. It was the funniest thing. Thanks for being here. Let's go.
Hi, thanks so much for being here. Before we get started, I'm in the middle of a story. I told half the story last week. I'm going to finish the story this week, and it probably won't make sense out of that context, so feel free to listen to last week's. If you haven't yet, I encourage it. Otherwise, let's go. But I do want to let you know it's not an episode for your kids. There is mention of pornography and some certain surrounding things like that, so please beware of that. If that's not kind of my typical topic of conversation, but I'm in the process of telling you about the most toxic workplace I ever worked. And you can't really talk about toxicity without talking about something untoward. So here's part 2. As if you're hovering, the website name comes up. You know, like when you hover and the thing reveals itself. So where it said msn.com, as I was hovering, I saw that the website said Pamela and Tommy Lee's sex tape. Now, if you're not familiar, there's actually a great Hulu. What do you call them? It's like it's a dramatization, but it's pretty accurate. It's like a documentary, but it's a dramatization. About that, but very early on in the internet world, Tommy Lee, who was a rock star, and Pamela Anderson Lee, who was I think she was a model. I know she was an actress. They were married, and one of their sex tapes got stolen and leaked online, and it was everywhere in the news. It was all over the news. I had heard about it. I hadn't seen it, didn't really have an interest in seeing it, but I knew very well about it. And when that popped up, I think it was like that moment where I was like, my little naivete about the world and what was going on in the world and how things functioned, my glass got shattered that day. I was like, oh, interesting. Okay, so not only do I know that this man is using his office computer to look at pornography, but I also know he doesn't want anyone to know that he's using the office computer to look at pornography because he has gone to a lot of trouble. Like, I wouldn't even know how to rename that. And the fact that he went through all that in his head to rename something so that somebody like me wouldn't accidentally see it, knowing that not every computer has the internet, and sometimes we have to go to these computers to get internet access to prepare for our show. We have to have the most recent weather. We have to have the whatever. So I was like, okay, I'm in a different league here. Something's going on. So from that point till the time I left that place, things escalated. One day I was in my studio doing my show, and there's always, every studio, or at least every studio I've ever worked in, has glass walls so that it's soundproof, but you can still see, if there's like a fire or something, they need to be like, okay, let's get out of here. Or, hey, something's wrong with this, or you need to turn up this, or can we talk after this? Whatever. So I was in a glass studio. I shared a glass wall in between with that news station and the guy that ran that computer. And it was early in the morning, dude. 6:08. We had barely had our first cup of coffee. It was I remember distinctly that it was so early in the morning. And we were both between, our mics were both off. We were between, I was between a song and he was between a news story or whatever. And we start hearing a weird noise, which is odd because it wasn't fully soundproof, but we were fairly soundproof. And so for us to hear something, it had to be very loud. And we both looked at each other like, that's weird. What is that? And we both realized while making eye contact with each other that what we were hearing, we realized at the exact same time that what we were hearing was his pornography at an astoundingly loud level. And when I tell you, when he realized that, the panic, that's the only word I can use. I don't even really think there was shame there. There certainly wasn't any like apology from him. But the way he hustled over to that computer to minimize that, close that, mute that, whatever he did, I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it. And a couple other things had like popped up through there. So this was to the point where it's like, dude, okay, whatever. You want to look at porn. You don't have really good access to it at home. Or maybe you don't want your wife to see it, or whatever the thing is. But when it's like literally kind of being forced on me in a certain way, and at risk of going out over the air to a degree, when I'm like, what I'm fostering over here is like a family friendly morning show where literally I'm playing like Justin Bieber, except that he wasn't born yet for this time. But like, that's what I'm playing. And the kids listen to us on the way to school. And a lot of them call in, and I talk to a lot of their moms. And like, you are putting us at risk of things now. This is not just like, oh, this is my little fetish and sorry, this accidentally, like, this is, you're getting so bold with it that you're putting us at risk for other things. And he did not love that I knew that. He did not love that he was getting caught. He did not love that. He didn't love that I was on to him. He did not love that. And when I brought it up to him, I was like, dude, I'm really getting tired of it. Like, just stop, like, at least control it, you know? Like, have enough sense to not leave the tab open. Have enough sense. I can't remember what he said, but it was something like, you don't tell me what to do. You don't tell me how to act. You don't tell me all this stuff. And there wasn't really anything, I don't know. Ultimately, the way I dealt with that was by leaving and getting a better job. That was all I wanted anyway. And I wanted that as a stepping stone to get a better job, and I did. But what was interesting was that same type of toxicity of like, you don't tell me what to do. A 22-year-old girl is not going to tell a grown man what to do. Had it in a completely different situation. Was that this guy had hired somebody that, from my point of view, I think he had a drug problem. I'm pretty naive to that kind of stuff, or at least at that time I kind of was. But I knew enough to put the pieces together, and I was like, this guy's making me a little bit uncomfortable just because, like, I don't know what's going to happen there, you know? And I think the thing that bothered me the most about that was that that employee did not have a car, so the boss let him drive our company van all over the place, like as his company car. And great, like, I'm glad we could help him out, except that I had to also drive that van to events and to meet with the people in the communities and meet with our listeners and meet with my fans and meet with people that were just walking by, and we were being a representative of the station to the out in the community. And I went to him and I said, this is like it's a little bothersome to me. I'm worried about it. And he gave me the same uh don't you come and tell me. Don't you come and tell me what to do. Don't you tell me what to work. Don't it was very much like, who do you think you are for having an opinion about anything that I'm in charge of? And I said, okay, that's fine. But I'll tell you what, if, big if, I'm out at an event driving that van around, and for some reason when I go to click the blinker, it doesn't blink, and I change lanes, and a cop sees that and pulls me over and finds drugs in that van, you are going to be the one on the phone explaining that to my mom. Not me. You're going to be the one explaining that. And I walked out of the room, and the next day, I remember one of my coworkers and I were about to go out, and he opened the van of the door, and he's like, whoa, look at this thing. Who cleaned the van? I've never seen it like this. It is spotless. As big and tough as that guy was, I think I had him peeing his pants, because the second I walked out that door, he got that van detailed to a degree that I don't think it ever had been, nor was it ever cleaned again like that. And we never talked about it, but the satisfaction I had in that, I was on the top. I was the king. I was the queen of the world, baby. I was the absolute queen of the world. All that to say, yes, if 50-year-old Joy were there, I would still do the van thing. I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud of young Joy for that. I thought that I admire about her. She did a chef's kiss to that response, and chef's kiss to getting the van detailed. But, it's just such a different world, and I hate when people say that, but there were so many different things about that. It was crazy. And maybe like 10 years later, they were doing an investigation into that workplace, and somebody, I don't remember if it was the FBI or the local, I don't know who called me, but did like an hour-long interview with me about it. And another one of my coworkers that kind of blew me off about it, he was like, why are you trying to stir stuff? He came to me a couple of years later and was like, oh, dude, they found so much stuff on those computers. And I was like, yeah, I told you that like 5 years ago. And he goes, oh, man, I thought you were just trying to start. I didn't know you were. And I was like, no, if I was trying to start something, wouldn't I have like called somebody or like done something about it? And he was like, there was a lot of stuff, and it was awful. It was awful. And I was like, well, yeah, I mean, I told you that a long, long time ago. But I'm well past that. I've moved on to bigger and better things. So best of luck. And I am grateful for those experiences, because not just for a story to tell, but to be able to look back and like see what I was able to see at that time, and learn what I was able to learn, and take that with me forward, and to not like, thank God that my most toxic situation was long ago and not most recent. I'm grateful that we've come a long way in society. And I'm grateful. Now, granted, do I think that there's less porn around us? No, it's just on people's phones. But, at least it's on their at least we don't have to share phones. There's something. But I do think that our workplace expectations have come a long way from that. Now, do I think there's plenty of places that still are insanely toxic? Yes, you hear about them on the news all the time. But from my point of view, I do think our expectations have increased for what we expect from people. And I'm very grateful for that. And I'm very grateful for that for whatever 22-year-old is entering the workforce right now. And thank God that's such a long time ago. But it does make me chuckle. Man, I wish he would clean out my car like that right now. Grateful to not be in a toxic situation. Thank you for letting me tell you about that. I don't know how that would have ever come up organically. So, yeah. Thanks for letting me get that off my chest.
Thanks for listening to Little Things, Big Feelings with Joy Delaney. I'm James, the producer, editor, director, and executive producer. Follow Joy on socials at Joy Delaney Cox on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.
Honestly, forget TikTok. I don't even know how to use it
You don't even
anyway.
know how to use it anyway.
James?
Follow Joy on socials at Joy Delaney Cox on Instagram and Facebook. See you next week.